I need to convince you to stop living paycheck to paycheck. Now, years ago for me, I had married my wife when I was 18 years old and she was 16 years old. And so we had a very hard life. I had gotten her pregnant when she was 16 years old, and we just made a life. And it's been a struggle. It has been a struggle for us, and I'm sure it's a struggle for you if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Unless you got some super paying job that pays you a shit ton of money, you're typically hurting. I think back to the way things were for my wife and I when we were younger. And for us, there was a time where the only meat we had was the deer that we shot out in the field that we would bring into the house, and we'd have to borrow the butter half the time to cook them, you know? I mean, we were dirt poor. I can remember another story, just watching even my family members grow up. When we all grew up on the farm, my dad had at most, I think he had 50 or 60 head of cattle and dairy cattle. And we worked from 5 in the morning till like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. And it's 7 days a week. There was no break. And at the end of the day, all that hard work, my dad became a millionaire at one point because of all the hard work that he had put into it. With all his properties and whatnot, he's worth over $1 million, you know. But he's worked damn hard for it. So I did that for years. I worked the job, got the paycheck. But what I noticed, and maybe you've heard me say this before, is a job stands for just over broke, because every time you get a raise, cost of inflation comes up, cost of your insurances, so on and so forth, takes it away. And you get a raise the next year, and then everything takes it away. The cost of living, the cost of groceries, gas, rent, you name it. So I did that. I call it a hamster wheel. I was in that thing for 13 years when I worked for the Kmart Corporation, right? So, but I realized at some point in my life that I had to make changes. And I couldn't figure out how to do that. And I was like, the internet came out, and for me that was fantastic because of the wealth of information that it provided. And so I was on the internet all the time, and especially like channels like YouTube, because I learned better from like videos versus my wife, who loves to read. And I was never a good reader. I was always a slow study, but I learned more from videos or hands-on doing things, right? So I realized after watching a few of these, I was like, how is everybody else doing this? You know, how are they getting wealthy and then I'm not? I mean, am I not working hard enough? So I'd go get another job and I'd work harder at that job. I'd work my 40 hours here and I'd do another 30 or 40 over here at this job. And I'm like, you're just dead ass tired. You've done everything you can do and you're still not getting ahead. It's like, what is happening, you know? And so I realized I needed to think out of the box and make changes for myself. And I did that. And the thing that is guaranteed to you is that if you don't make any changes in your life, there's not going to be any changes. You're going to be in the same boat next year, only worse, because the cost of everything continues to go up. Yeah, you're going to get your little bump and raise, but everything's going to come along and take that away. That's why we started our business and started in lawn care. Then we went to landscaping. Then we went to some garden center, I believe it was. And then we went to some retail shops. We opened up 3 of those. And then we started the mosquito police business. We also had a landscape company in Florida prior to the one, or at the same time we had the one in Wisconsin, prior to the mosquito police thing. Then we started the mosquito police business. But each time, what I realized was for example, lawn mowing. When I started in lawn mowing, I knew there was a certain amount of money to be made, and we took that little bit of money that we could pull out after we paid everything, and we invested that into something else, which happened to be landscaping. Once we got into landscaping, it made a little better money, so we had a little more money. We started opening up a retail shop. Once we opened that up, that started making money. We opened another, and then we opened another, and then we got into this mosquito police thing, okay? What I realized after going through all of these businesses, the best one for me ended up being the mosquito police one. And why is that? Well, lawn care, there's very low margins. So what I mean by margins are, say you make X amount of money this year, and then out of that, say you made $100,000, but it cost you $70,000 in all your expenses to make that 100. So 30% is what you have left over. That's like your margin, right? The difference between the two. So what I noticed there were higher margins in landscaping, but it's more backbreaking work. You need a lot more equipment. We would roll out of our yard every year with 150 grand worth of equipment, between the truck and the trailer and the skid steer and the attachments and the dump truck, and it costs you a lot more to go out and make that bigger ticket money, right? What I liked about the Mosquito Police business model was that it's reoccurring money. Unlike landscaping, where you have to go and you have to find new customers every single year. So maybe I did $500,000 in landscaping this year, but now next year when I go out, I got to find another $500,000 worth of customers. And that's a lot of time traveling to their place, doing estimates, and then you'll do 5 estimates and get 2, or 1. And that's weighing on you, and that's a heavy thing. So coming back to the Mosquito Police thing, that was such a simple business for us to start, right? And then we just learned and learned and learned as we went. And what we found out was that we can make this reoccurring revenue. We don't have to go out year after year and keep finding these new clients. Yeah, you still have to market. You still have to do your marketing because you're going to lose a certain percentage of them. But depending on, again, who you listen to, most people will tell you you'll lose 15 to 20% of your business every year. And they're not wrong, because people leave for a multitude of reasons. They left the state, maybe they sold their house, maybe they were just renting, maybe they went and bought a house, maybe they passed away, maybe he lost his job, they can't afford your service anymore. So there's a lot of reasons that people leave you. You have to bring those people back in, but it is a small percentage. If you have 80% of your people that stay with you and you have them year after year after year, you're making bank. You don't have to go searching for all those new customers. You just need to fill that gap in, right? And then you can stay at the cash flow that you want. For me, I've seen nothing but growth in this business, so I just keep dumping money back into it, dumping, and now we have like 14 trucks on the road, and we started with 1, 6 years ago. So that's how good of a business it's been for us, right? So you can imagine the kind of revenue that we do. And we went from $0 to over $1 million. And the nice part about that is that reoccurring revenue, right? So if you guys want to know how we did it, if you want to know anything more about how to take care of your money and how to make your money work for you, the Mosquito Police business is not for everybody. It isn't. There are people that are not willing to put in the work, the time, the effort to grow a business like we did. But if it is something that you think that you might be able to do, I highly, highly encourage you to check out our websites, check out our Google reviews about our company, find out more about us. And if you think you might be a good fit for a partnership, by all means, give us a call. Let's talk.